Hey book friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a really fun video that I'm so excited to share with you. So as you saw in the thumbnail, I am bringing back my reading challenge for 2024. So I started this last year. I run it off of Discord. It was called the Read with Purpose Reading Challenge, and we had a fiction prompt for every month as well as the encouragement to pick up one nonfiction book per month. So I am bringing it back, but there's gonna be some differences. So join me for more details on the 2024 reading challenge called Reading is Fun. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to the channel, all the things. And so let's just hop in to more details about this reading challenge. So a couple logistics is I'm running this challenge out of the same Discord group I had last year. And so if you joined last year and maybe dropped out halfway through the year, you're still in the group. So just come back for the 2024 reading challenge. And I will obviously link the Discord group below. And I will also include a link to the PDF for all the prompts. So this is the card that I made for the reading challenge, and this year I decided to include blanks because that way you can keep track of the books that you are reading for the challenge. I already have some books picked out, which is another thing that will be different this year. But as for logistics, look below for the Discord group as well as the PDF. And as I mentioned, I changed the name to Reading is Fun to kind of encompass this general idea of come participate when you want to. It's just supposed to be joyful. So that is the name of the group. And so the first big thing that I want to share with you that I learned from running the challenge last year that I want to change this year is I want to make each month more of a buddy reading situation. And so last year I set it up that everybody kind of shares what they're reading. We give each other recommendations for the prompts and things like that, and you share your nonfiction book. And then there were a few months when I was, one, organized enough to let you know what I was reading ahead of time, and there was enough interest that there were a few people that would buddy read that book with me. Those were my favorite months, hands down. And so I want to do that again this year. So this isn't a book club of any kind. Really, I've already picked the books I want to read this year for the challenge. And what I'm going to do is here shortly, I'm going to share which books they are. So if you are at all interested in these books, make note of that and you can join us for a buddy reading situation. I'm just going to have it all set up in Discord this year. That's actually one of my other goals is I'm going to set up every month so it's all ready to go and you can interact with those months when you're ready to and you don't have to wait for me because sometimes I was so far behind. And anyway, I'm going to have Discord better organized and it's going to have all the buddy reads all set up. And then the last thing is nonfiction. I struggled with nonfiction last year, but I do know that some of you loved that aspect where you had a fiction book and a nonfiction book. So what I'm doing is I'm not necessarily making the nonfiction book a part of the challenge, but I'm encouraging those who are very interested in nonfiction to do that. I'm thinking of maybe picking a quarterly nonfiction book for myself, but please do with that as you wish and always share what you're reading because I feel like I've gotten a lot of good recommendations on nonfiction books based on what you all were reading last year. So those are kind of the changes. That's the changes to the group. What I want to do now is I want to go through the prompts and I want to go through the books I'm planning on reading that you could potentially buddy read with me in 2024. I'm just going to scoot over and I'm going to try and put up a document here so you can kind of see what we are working with here. So the first month is January and I have a book you wanted to read in 2023. So I feel like we all do this. I think. I definitely do. I have books that I really wanted to get to. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get to it in December. And I just, no, it's December. So I don't get to it. But yet I want to get to it early the next year. And so the book that fell into this category for me was this book, What the River Knows by Isabella Banez. Not quite sure how to say that, but this book sounds so good. I think it's described as what? The Mummy Meets Death on the Nile. I think that sounds so fun. I think it is a YA book, and so I'm anticipating it being kind of a fast, plot-driven, fun time about this girl who has parents that are archaeologists or something like that, famous archaeologists that always leave her behind, and she wants to go with them, but then she finds out that they mysteriously died, and she wants to start investigating that or something. I often don't want to know too much before going in, but that just sounds like a lot of fun. It just sounds like an adventure-driven, fast-paced book that I could get into. So this is the first book if you want to buddy read in January. Otherwise, I'm sure you all have good books that you could fill out the prompt of a book that you wanted to get to in 2023. Okay, as for February, it's a book purchased second hand. So that is a pretty broad category, which I wanted these to be very broad so you could fit any genre, any book. And so any book that you have bought used. And so I just got a bunch of books from Pango Books, which I love Pango Books. I have my shop linked below. And I think I have the book haul coming in the next video, but I wanted to get this one up to you guys first. So the book I'm planning on reading for February is Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty. So this is the second book in the David Bad series. This is just what I want to read. I realize it doesn't make a great buddy read if you haven't read the first one, but maybe you could read it in January if you're so interested, because you'll see in a little bit that I have the third book on my list as well, because I want to prioritize the series, so I'm just putting them on my challenge. And so this series is about a girl named Nahari, and she's a con artist in 18th century Cairo, and she accidentally summons this jinn warrior named Dara, and then they have to kind of flee for their lives, and he realizes there's something kind of magical about her, so he has to bring her to the City of Brass, which is the City of Magic, and the book goes from there, and it was a really fun book. I really enjoyed it, and so I'm just jazzed to pick up the second one. So that's my plans for February, and so if you want to join me, that would be wonderful. As for March, I like to plan like mysteries in March, and so I want to read the second book in the Thursday Murder Club series. So again, sorry, it's another second book, but I highly recommend reading the Thursday Murder Club. I guess people do describe it as more like a cozy mystery, and maybe it is. I just really enjoyed the main characters. And the second book is called The Man Who Died Twice, and it has, was it a fox on the cover? I can't quite remember, but this is the book I will be reading for Animal on the cover. I'm so very excited for it. And so April, the prompt is color in the title. Basically, that means the title has to have a color in it, blue, red, anything. What I've chosen is the third book in the David Bad series. It's The Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. I'm super excited to finish out this series. I didn't realize until I just held this up. This book is significantly bigger than the other two, 750 pages. So if anybody would like to join me, I would love the company. I think this is just a really fun story, and it would be really fun to buddy read with other people. So let me know. And in May, I have book by a favorite author. Okay. This you obviously could take in so many different directions. I wanted to put in Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez because I read Part of Your World last year and I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I would elevate her to favorite author status quite, but I'm reading this for another group, and so I thought this would be a perfect one to also squeeze in as my July buddy read for the challenge. So I believe this book has a bit of a fake dating trope where these two people seem to be a bit unlucky in love. Like everybody they date, once they break up with them, they go on and meet their soulmate and get married. So it's just never them. And so for some reason, these two find each other and they decide that they're going to break the curse, if you will, I think. And then they spend the kind of summer pretending to be dating, and I'm sure they fall in love and stuff like that. I'm not typically a romance reader, but it just sounds fun. So irregardless, if you want to join me for this, pick up a book from your favorite author is the prompt. And then June is Blue on the Cover. All right, I'm sure you can find a good book. What I want to read is 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. I've wanted to read this book since I heard about it. I thought about the fact that it might spoil some like classic mystery books, but honestly I don't read too many classics other than Agatha Christie, which I do enjoy her work. But this book is about I think he's a bookseller who like posted a blog about like the 8 perfect murders in books, and then it seems like somebody in real life is mimicking those murders, and then the FBI gets involved and brings this guy into the investigation, but it sounds like he has some secrets or something like that. I enjoyed the last Peter Swanson I read, and so I want to give him another go. So that's what I will be reading if you want to join me for that. Otherwise, just a blue on the cover book. And then July is a book set in paradise. All right, I tried to make that prompt broad because I had one specific book I really wanted to read, but I wanted to make sure people could read fun beach reads as well. So what I am picking is the new release from Stuart Turton, who is a favorite author of mine. And so his book I think comes out in maybe June. Hopefully not July, June, but I'm going to be pre-ordering it or putting my name in at the library. It is called The Last Murder at the End of the World. From what I understand, there's a group of people on an island. It's a bit utopian in nature. And there's this fog that surrounds them that the island and the scientists on the island are able to protect the people from this fog. And something about the fog is bad. or something about the mainland is bad. I'm not quite sure, but it sounds like there's like a person, one of the scientists dies, the last murder at the end of the world, right? He dies, and then they have to solve the murder because in his death, the island starts to like malfunction. So it is definitely giving me the vibes of the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. So good. I love that book. I really should reread it. But anyway, this is the latest from Stuart Turton, and I want to read it in July. So if anybody is also very excited, join me. Get your name in at the library to get that book. But for August, the prompt is Hyped Book. And so for this, I'm going to be reading Ink Blood Sister Scribe by Emma Torres. I'm super stoked about this. It is definitely hyped because it was part of like the Goodreads Choice Awards, and so I want to prioritize it. And it's a book about libraries and books, and I just always love those kinds of books. So this is about two sisters. They're stepsisters, I think. They're half sisters who have grown up in a family that guards like a collection of magical books. And due to a set of circumstances, they have both either kind of left that library or been estranged in some way until their father dies reading a mysterious book, and it brings them back together to try and solve kind of that mystery and what's happening, and as well as protect the library, I think. And you know, I've heard really good things about that, and I've had it on my shelves, so I want to read that book for the hyped book prompts. And then as for September, I have Book from Your Shelf, just to make it a very broad, easily doable prompt for September. I'm going to read the third book in the Richard Osman series. I believe it's called The Bullet That Missed. I'm so stoked for it. It sounds really good. Follow the same set of characters at the retirement village who are solving crimes, right? Clearly I don't have it to hold up, so it's not on my shelves yet, but it will be. I have the first one. I'm just looking for a good deal on the next two of those books, but I do want to purchase them. So a book that is on your shelf. And then October, I have a frightening cover. And I hope this prompt can be broad, especially for those of you who don't like to read like scary books in October. I do enjoy it. I don't enjoy horror though. So the book I'm going with, and I hope you better read with me, is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. Now I realize this is not a frightening cover, but I'll pop up the picture. I think it's the international cover, and it has a picture of a skull, and so it just made me want to pick up this book even more. So this though, why I want to pick up this is it's dark academia. It actually gives me quite a bit of the Secret History vibes, which I really did enjoy that book. This has to do more with like a group of students. They're like fourth year students who are part of like the drama group on campus, and I think they're running a Shakespeare play of some sort, so there's the Shakespearean group. And then things go badly during like opening night or something like that, and then they have to kind of figure out how to make themselves innocent or appear innocent, something to that notion. What I've heard about this is that it's excellent on audiobook, especially because it has all the Shakespeare quotes and things like that. So if you enjoy Shakespeare, this would be a really good one, as well as if you enjoy dark academia. So that's kind of why I'm picking it up. So you can join me for that in October. And then November is a title with the word "and" in it. And so that feels pretty broad. I hope it is for you guys. What I am going to be picking is a book I'm super excited about. So it is The Weaver and the Witch Queen by Genevieve Gornichek, I think it is. So she's the author of The Witch's Heart, which I just love this past year. It made my top books of 2023. And so I really want to pick up her next book. It's about these sisters and a friend. So these three girls as they're growing up during, I think, the Viking times. And then it seems like there's like a raid on the village, and one of the girls gets taken. And the sister just wanted a normal life, but instead she's going to go rescue her sister, and her friend is going to help her, who this friend became kind of a witch of sorts, and she also is involved in like King Eric. I'm not sure if it's Eric the Red. I'm not quite sure. It just sounds really fun. It sounds historical. It sounds kind of like family saga. I'm here for it because I really enjoy her writing style, and so I'm really excited to pick that book up. And hopefully if you're interested, join me for that. But otherwise, I hope you can find a book with the word "and" in the title. And then the last prompt for December, I wanted to make this really simple, but also kind of end on a community building note. And so this is read a book recommended in this group. So like I was saying, when I set up the months in Discord, I set up a book recommendation, like what would you recommend for this prompt, as well as what did you decide to read. Those are two different tabs within that month. And so by the time December rolls around, there should be so many different recommendations in the group, but you could also just like directly ask for recommendations from the group, or directly ask for like, should I read this book, or this book? And the group can like vote on it or respond. And so I thought that would be a fun way to end December. And so obviously there's not going to be a buddy read for that month, but it's December, and I thought that would be a good break. So this is the plan. I have 11 books that I am planning for this challenge that I have shared with you. I would love to buddy read them with you, but no worries, it's not a book club. You don't have to read those books. You get to pick based on the prompts in the challenge. And so I hope you love how this challenge is set up. I hope that it is something that you can really enjoy and that you can fit easily into your reading for the year, and come onto Discord and interact with all of us, because I'm really looking forward to this. And I just love the group that we have going in there, so please join us. But anyway, that is what I have for this video. I hope you liked it. Give it a thumbs up if you're excited for the challenge. Subscribe to the channel if you want to. And I will see you guys for the next book video. All right, guys, take care.